Hey, my name is Alexa. Welcome to She Has Plants. In today's video, we're going to walk through each one of the plants in my collection. And if you subscribe or stay tuned to my next video, which is already edited, locked and loaded, that's going to be me showing you my plant shelves and where everything is situated. So without further ado, let's get into the actual collection. This is my Begonia Fannie Moser. I got it at Canadian Tire for $13, cash pot from Winners Home Sense, on a clear trellis from Houseplant Essentials, which I used the coupon code from Wild Fern for. I was really attracted to this because of the red undersides of the foliage, and it's just very witchy vibes. I purchased it a bit distressed. It is shooting up some new growth, which is promising. I haven't cut off the leaves that have dry bits. I'm waiting for some of the smaller leaves to mature more so that I can prune her better. This is my Hoya Retusa. It's currently living in a pot that I bought at Alma Plants in Montreal. It's just a clay pot. I kind of prefer this look to terracotta because most of my pots are white or they're kind of more muted colors. It's a unique Hoya, quite unusual. It kind of looks like grass. Unfortunately, I had a mini battle with aphids and I'm currently on the lookout to see if it develops anymore. There seems to be a little bit of new growth happening, a few yellow foliage that I have to pull off, or yellow tendrils or whatever you call those. I purchased this at Venus Fleur. I think that's what it's called in Montreal. It was $10. This one here is the Hoya Krohniana Super Silver. And this also had aphids. I purchased this at the same place on the same day. It was August 19th when I purchased this one. I really wanted a silver colored plant and it started to develop some new foliage, but then some of them died off. Unfortunately, it's currently trying to push some new bits. This is the first plant that I saw aphids on and I was like, no, oh my goodness. So it hasn't really changed too much. I really just got this last month. And this little cash pot that it's in is from Simon's Home and it was $12. Next we have this Kalanchoe. I have no idea when my mom got this, so I've had this for very many years and I've cut it down several times. It's in a Dollarama pot that costs $4.50 that has drainage. It's got this like stuck-on plate on the bottom. This plant is on the chopping block, maybe to be decluttered because I don't love it, but I'm just trying to see if I can get it to grow back pretty. This is my Hoya Curtisii, and I think that there are some dry pieces of foliage. There's a little bit of new growth to compensate for that, but it's a bit of a tricky plant. The foliage is just so peculiar and the new ones are coming in really cute. This was also $9, by the way. I clearly have a thing for plants that sun stress or have some redness to them. My colleague from work gave me a cutting from her Marble Queen and it needs some water, admittedly. Isn't it adorable? I really love this plant. I love the colors. I have a lot of golden pothos, but I didn't have a Marble Queen, so of course I couldn't refuse. This is my Philodendron Micans, and I just have it up this Dollarama trellis, and the cash pot is from Simon's. It was on sale for $8.99 or something like that. There is a little bit of damage on this that was there when I got it, but I'll be cutting off some leaves. I also have some propagations of this and a second plant of this, if you will. I'm trying to see how it works climbing versus trailing. This is a Rhipsalis Pilocarpa or Pilocarpa. I got this at a vendor in the Jean Talon market. I was super fascinated by this plant because look at it. Isn't it amazing? It has such a beautiful texture. I didn't take it out of its planter. I did do a root cut and a little bit of hair cutting. There's still some more hair cutting that needs to be done. And I'm trying to propagate a piece right now just to see how it goes. I recently watered it, but it's a bit droopy. But I'm really excited about this one because there's already some new growth at the top right. And I have this hanging in a northwest window. This is my orchid Phalaenopsis. My mom got this as a gift for her last birthday. I have been trying to revive this. It had gorgeous blooms when she was gifted it. Over the last year, it has given me these 3 leaves up here, so that's promising. And there are a couple of aerial roots, I would say about 3 or 4 popping out. We'll see if I can rehab this. I got the cash pot from Winners Home Sense and it cost, I think, $8. I like the little texture and it has drainage as well. This is my Hoya tricolor carnosa, otherwise known as the Hoya Crimson Princess, I believe. I think the colorway of this cash pot is freaking adorable with this Hoya, and I got this cash pot from Dollarama of all places. I believe it was $3.50, and they even have little feet. How cute is that? And I can't wait for this to grow up the trellis. It's going to be gorgeous. This Hoya cost me $8 from Canadian Tire. If you're enjoying this video so far, please give it a thumbs up. That helps me so much. And let me know in the comments down below if you have any of the plants that I've mentioned so far. Moving back a little, this is my snake plant. I actually had this in 2 pots before, and now I combined it because I just have a lot of plants, okay? This is looking a little wacky because it probably, I have to check if it needs a water. I am thinking of putting something in to support the really long strands, or to maybe just cut it off because it only flops over like that when I move it. Normally it's against a wall and it's receiving a lot of light because I want it big. I like it big. I don't know when my mom got it. It's very many years old, and it is presently in this dragonfly pot that has drainage. I got this on liquidation at Winners Home Sense for $13.99. If you don't know, Winners Home Sense in Canada is basically TJX or like Marshall's. I have 2 props of Echeveria. I had 1 large one left. One I gave to my mother's best friend, and I kept these props because I was gonna try to grow it back. I don't know. I mean, it's not my favorite plant, but I'm just trying, so we'll see. She has other plants that she left behind to me that I enjoy more. These I feel like I can set and forget for a while and just see if I'm able to prop them. It's pink Syngonium. I had a trellis in this, but then I realized I don't really need it right now. It is in a tiny pot that is also from Winners with mini dragonflies, which I think is so freaking adorable. And I switched out the nursery pot for one that is from Houseplant Essentials, so all from that same order. And the newest leaves are the large pink ones up on top. The rest are kind of reverting. Not really sure why. I just watered it. I think it was dried out a bit over the weekend before I got around to it. Oddly enough, I got this at the pharmacy Jean Couture, and it was potted with a Ficus Shivereana moonshine, which makes absolutely no sense because they have completely different water requirements. They both had the netting on them, so I guess that's how they got them to survive long enough to be bought. But yeah, I separated them obviously, and we'll see how she goes. She looks like she is shooting up a couple of new ones in here, which is promising. I think it likes that I took it out of the little bag, and I'm gonna give it another trim. I cannot recall the botanical name right now, but this is a baby rubber plant, and I pretty much have been killing this. I'm trying to revive it with these leaves, but I don't know if they're just gonna dry out in a couple of months, so we'll see. I'm not super invested, but I figured I might as well try. I don't lose anything. I just learn from my mistakes. This is the Ficus Shivereana that was planted with the pink Syngonium. It's currently sprouting a new bebe up on top, and there is a little mini leaf on the bottom that came out of nowhere. It's living in a plastic cup. It's not a candle holder per se, but it's a glass that a candle came in, and then we cleaned it out. I kept it for decor, and it just works well for holding little plants. There are a couple of little burnt leaves. They were like that when I got it. I'm excited to see how this grows as it gets bigger because the foliage is just, she's beautiful. So beautiful. Don't mind her, she's just having a hard day. This is my Calathea rattlesnake, and she came from Canadian Tire and cost me, I think $8, but she's so cute and she does perk up at different times. She was just thirsty. I gave her some water, and there's a lot of sun right now, even in the living room. I have her pulled back from the window. This is a tea light candle holder. I don't even know where these things are from. I just find them and I repurpose them. This is another plant find from Canadian Tire. I always hear people say that string of hearts is tricky and variegated string of hearts are tricky, but I just have these under my grow light in my shelf and they're doing just fine. This little sippy cup thing is from Maxi, I believe, the Joe Fresh stuff, and I have it in a little nursery, so it kind of just works as a cash pot. I don't like that this rim is showing, but it is what it is, and it is showing a little bit of new growth, which is nice. This is sort of the plant that started it all, okay? This is my Philodendron Pink Princess. I bought this at Binette et Fille on Saint Jean Baptiste, so June 24th, and then I don't know what happened, because prior to that I was just taking care of my mother's plants and then I just got hooked. This is such a satisfying plant to grow. I know it gets a lot of hate for being irregular in its variegation, but I don't mind that at all, and it just keeps giving me new leaves. I just got this practically in July and we are only mid-September and I'm on my 4th leaf. Since it's still in the nursery pot, I sometimes switch out the cash pot, but right now it's living in the one that I purchased from Simon's that was on sale for $2.99. And pink on pink is really cute. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention is that it has a little baby runner down here, which is very exciting. This is a Pilia, and well, it was acting up on me a little bit recently. Don't mind this mechanical damage. It was starting to turn light or pale, and I think that was because it was missing nutrients in the soil mix. So I refreshed the soil and I changed the spot that it's living in, and it seems to be happier. It's growing new little leaves on top. This came from my colleague as well. There's a really large Pilia in my office, so I have a piece. One of the baby runners. My Thanksgiving cactus, I recently pruned it, so now it's coming out with some new growth. And I was a really nasty girl when I repotted her. Used a little bit of recycled soil that had Oxalis Triangularis tubers in it without me realizing it. I recently pruned it, so it has a little bit of new growth. I don't know when my mom got this. She duplicated it and I gave the sister plant to my boyfriend's mom. So whenever I visit them, I get to see her sister. Why am I personifying plants? Don't ask me. Look at those Oxalis Triangularis on the side. Wild. This plant blooms several times a year, in the winter and in the fall, and it has these beautiful bright pink blooms. Next we have my Cebu blue. I have it on one of those Dollarama trellises. Again, the pot is from Winners Homes Ends, and it also has drainage. It's tricky to get a nursery pot that fits in there. Once I found one, that's it. It's staying in there. It's shooting up new growth. I've tried to propagate it, but the propagations are a little bit tricky for me. They tend to dry out. I think the sun is too strong in one of my windows where I have it. I probably need to pull it back. This is my Burgundy ficus. Now, I cut off some leaves because there was some suspicious activity on them. They were graying out a little bit, like this leaf right here, which I think is probably going to have to get cut off too. The really adorable cash pot is from HomeSense and it has a hole in the bottom, so nice drainage. I've always been really attracted to the dark foliage of this type of ficus. So I'm very happy to have this in my collection, and I'm babysitting it. It's making a couple of new leaves, which is promising. Even where I gave it a really big chop, it's starting to make little new leaves. Gotta get that really ugly leaf off though. This is my Oxalis Triangularis. Let me turn her around. She is my pride and joy. She is just a freaking stunner. God, she's gorgeous. I combined two of them because my mom propagated, and clearly they're easy to propagate. Once you get the little tuber thing. You put it in the soil. If you're not sure which way is right side up, you plant it sideways and things happen. It loves a lot of sun and a lot of water, but it doesn't like to soak. And I have her in one of these beautiful planters from Winners Home Sense again, because they are just the bomb.com. Mom got this at the Atwater Market. Oh, look at how beautiful, just beautiful. This is my golden pothos. I have 3 other props, and then there's even one on the window. Okay, so maybe 5 in total. And this is a bunch of props planted into a pot. I'm gonna try to get it to climb the trellis. That's the idea. And it's so strange that each one of my props of this plant looks a little different. It's as if they were mixed up, or there's different varieties mixed up, because some of them are straight up just green, others are very variegated, others are a whiter variegation, whereas others are more yellow. I decided to come outside for these guys because it's much easier than bringing it to the room. I put my crotons outside today because it's super sunny and we're having Indian summer right now, mid-September, but I'm gonna bring them back in tonight. They're doing well. Like this one, not as much, but it is having some new growth on top. This one even sprouted babies on the bottom, and look at how big they've gotten. What the hell? And then on top, it's making some big leaves. Then we have the prickly pear cactus. This, my mom got while it was like an inch or 2 tall. I think it was only 1 inch tall actually. And it has been growing. It's corking on the bottom here, but it's still experiencing some growth on top, which is nice. Then of course we have our Monstera Deliciosa, Monsterota, La Adoptada. I don't know what to call her anymore. She's got a lot of names. I told you guys a story about her. She was rescued from the streets. Restaurants were throwing out plants during the pandemic, like just when all the restaurants shut down in Montreal. And my mom picked a cutting with a node. Now it's lost its original leaves. I've even cut a few leaves from the bottom off, and we've got these massive fenestrated leaves left. It is trailing a bit on the floor right now because the stick I have there gets pulled down from the weight of the plant. I have to find a way to stabilize it. It's tied perfectly fine, but with time, the weight of the plant pulls it forward. I'm happy with the direction that the leaves are growing in now, and it looks great. I'm actually considering air layering her and getting rid of the bottom portion and just kind of starting over with the top fresh 3 leaves, but we will see, my friends. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. The next video, as I mentioned, will be a walkthrough. For now, you can check out the video on the screen, which YouTube thinks you want to watch next, so go ahead and click that.